Welcome to this session of Leading and Managing Smart in the New Economy. It's part of the Executive Suite's weekly Wednesday webinar series. I'm Warren Rutherford, owner of the Executive Suite, and your host during these weekly Wednesday webinars. Our program today will be first having you take a Leading and Managing Smart survey, and then we'll discuss a little bit about our knowledge-based economy and what in the leading and managing arenas are meant by formal processes, procedures, and professional standards, and how you can, as a business owner, go about aligning your processes, procedures, and your standards. Take a minute or two, read the information on this survey, and rank on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, your company's score for each statement below. Once you've totaled the scores, in order to arrive at an average, divide by 5 and write down your score number. Once you come up with the answers and the point totals, it will help you to better understand some of the concepts and practices we will be discussing during our session today. Okay, we've totaled up the results. Now, based on your average score, is your average equal to or greater than 4? If so, you're leading and managing smart. Is your average equal to or greater than 3, but equal to or less than 3.8? If so, you're in the caution zone and you need some improvements to your management program. And is your score averaging less than 3? Well, if so, from a managing smart purpose, you're out of alignment, less productive and profitable than you could be, and perhaps you will benefit greatly from the information we'll be discussing in the next 25 minutes or so. Let's proceed. Well, back in 1978, New York University's Stern School of Business surveyed 5,000 of the world's largest companies. And they found at that time that there was a 95% correlation between a company's balance sheet and its business value. Simply put, in 1978, 95% of a company's value was reflected in its financial statements. That remaining 5% consisted of things not easily measured, the intangibles in the business. Perhaps you've heard of the phrase owner's goodwill? Well, that was the part of the 5%. What are some of the other variables within those intangibles? Well, let's take a look. Back in 2005, the Stern School did the study again. And they found now that there is a 28% correlation between a company's balance sheet and business value across all industries, and that the intangibles have increased from 5 to 72%, a pretty significant increase. Well, what makes up that 72%? Look at things such as intellectual property, brand, access to capital, the executive team. We know that we're in a globally competitive and intellectual economy. We know we need to rely more in a knowledge-based economy on these intangibles to increase our company's value. So let me ask you a question. How many of you would commit to stay with your current employer until retirement? What are the motivators for you to want to stay with a company? Let's look at a couple of other intangibles. Nearly 8 out of 10 employees are involved in producing services, expectations of value, rather than tangible products. And majority of tangible products are now bought primarily on the basis of brand, reputation, service, employee engagement, and other intangible factors. Does this surprise you? Well, let me ask you why it might be important. How many of your employees understand your corporate strategy? If you have senior management, how much time do you spend monthly defining strategy and aligning operations? How much of your operations are aligned to your strategy? And what percentage of your budget is aligned to your strategy? In 2005, researchers at the Center for Advanced Human Resource Studies at Cornell University looked at this question with 250 small businesses. How do people contribute to the success of our business? And they examined three areas: hiring, managing, and motivating, and found that if you could achieve workforce alignment, that is, having all the dots connected, you would have a more productive and profitable company. Does that make sense? When looking at employee management practices and workforce alignment, the researchers at Cornell found 4 strategies that these companies used to manage people, and they're listed below. They found that businesses that managed with formal processes and procedures and had established professional standards created the best long-term workforce alignment. Does it make sense, then, that it is better to define where we are going and what we need to do to get us there to create a more aligned and focused workforce? When I work in corporate and client settings, I find it remarkable that companies can even survive where there is no alignment. In one company I worked in, we increased our performance 400%, from 10% to 40% in 1 year. Afterwards, we inched up at a 10 to 20% performance improvement each and every year. How? Simply put, I spoke to my fellow employees, I listened, I communicated, I developed a plan that reflected them. After time, however, when we created and then maintained that alignment, I found that it took little effort to develop and even less effort to maintain employees and management. We both saw the benefits and helped to foster improvements necessary over time. It can be done, and is every day. I've developed 6 steps to alignment of your management and leadership practices that help you to lead and manage people in the right places at the right times. The first 3 are listed here. The first one is needed because it's the basis for your formal procedures and your professional standards. The second one is needed, I will argue, on a continual basis and in a variety of ways, so that the focus is and remains clear. The third practice is needed so that you build relevant pieces of your corporate strategy into each and every job position and function. When I work with clients, it's important to understand the company's strategy and plans for these very reasons. The fourth step is important: to maximize the performance of each employee. The fifth step now links each position's requirements to your corporate goals. And finally, the last step ensures that your employees have had the ability to help you ensure your success by participating in a meaningful way in the development of metrics and the appraisal mechanism. In order to create alignment with professional standards, you need to establish, monitor, and trust. You can do this with some focused effort and be prepared to transform the way you and your employees do business. In my book, employees want to be trusted to be able to know how to get the job done right. So let me ask you a question. How much room for improvement is there to trust your employees to get the job done right in your business? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, give yourself a grade. That's great. Now you know how much room you need to improve to gain their trust and improve productivity. Leaders and managers enable employees to innovate, to experiment, and be creative. We encourage employees to take initiative. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How much room for improvement is there in your company? That's great. Now that you know where you stand, you should be able to chart a path to improvement. So, in summary, the objective is to increase each other's success. Leading and managing SMART is a process and an ongoing practice. As we work through our weekly Wednesday webinars, I told you that would be a mouthful, we will continue to refer back to these basic objectives. Let me ask you a question. How well do you understand yourself? If you'd like an opportunity to review your behavioral preferences, click on this link. I'll paste it into the YouTube bar down below for you to copy. It's free, and I'll give you a complimentary debrief if you would like. Thank you. I'm available to talk with any of you about your needs. Feel free to share this YouTube link to anyone who would like to participate in our weekly webinar series. The link that's above will also help you and others link to further sessions that are now scheduled to go through September of 2012. I'm Warren Rutherford, and I thank you very much for your listening, and I hope you benefited. Thank you.